Welcome to the Music Matters More podcast. Today we welcome on AzulSky. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. Feeling
Awesome.
honored to be here.
Hey, well, I mean, the fact that you're visiting from New York and you still had time to make it on, we have people that are local and push back their dates more and more every day. So, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for asking.
Bishop, we have my lovely co-host. How you doing
What's
today?
happening, bro? How you feeling?
We got the
Good.
double cups
Yeah,
out today.
yeah.
Come on
Hey.
now. Cheers.
So we're just going to get right into this. We normally start off the podcast with asking how long you've been making music for.
Professionally, taking it serious, 2015.
2015?
Yes, but I've been singing since a little girl. I've always loved being a performer, an entertainer, whether it was making people laugh or whatnot. But my mom has home videos of me when I was a little girl. Couldn't even speak words yet because my first language was Spanish.
Okay.
So she has videos of me just dancing, singing, random stuff. So it's always kind of just been a part of me, and I grew up with a lot of musical backgrounds in the family and just being around a lot of music. So it's kind of just always been in my person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you go back and forth from singing both, or do you mainly sing?
In Spanish and English? Actually, now that I moved to New York, now it's been a year and a month about. I've been very influenced by a lot more Spanish music out there. There's
Really?
Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Ecuadorians. So it is a lot. It's something that is more instilled into me now. This new album that I have coming out has 3 tracks. One track that is fully Spanish and 2 tracks that are bilingual.
Okay.
Yeah, so it kind of goes into both.
Yeah, back and forth.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How many songs do you think you've made this far in your career?
That's a good question. Damn. In total, release, non-release?
Yeah.
Ballpark, probably.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an exact.
100, maybe a little over.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are complete, finished?
I would say 75% of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes, I get an idea, I go and record it, and I kind of won't. I don't like to force things,
Yeah.
So because everything is made best in fun and in genuinity, right? So, I sometimes won't go back to the track if I feel like it's being forced at that point.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes you create some things that you can go back to, maybe use a verse from there, a hook, whatever it may be, and kind of use it for another track, and then you're like, boom, that shit sparks, So
Do you feel like it's harder to revisit tracks? Because there's a lot of artists I record with, and even with myself, it's like, if I don't finish it that night or that day or whatever time I'm working on it, it's pretty hard for me to get that same, even just that same feeling working on a song.
yes, I do find it a lot more difficult. Have you ever, you do a song and then, you may want to re-record it, maybe switch a word or something, and it's just not sounding the same. And then you kind of get in your head and you're like, man, damn, you just want to throw away the whole song, but it's kind of just learn that it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll never, me being a perfectionist, I have to, get in myself and tell myself that that is the beauty of it. You're never going to hit a point where the track is completely perfect. But that's also what makes it perfect, So kind of just finding the balance in things and trusting in yourself and realizing that at the end of the day, you're dropping either an album, project, whatever it may be, singles. As long as you are happy with that, you are the most happy with what you've created, that's cool. Everyone's always going to have an opinion. But,
Yeah.
I
feel like my sister tells me this a lot, but she always says comparison is the thief of joy. So it's like, you may think a song is perfect, blah, 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 or you might even think it needs work. And then there could be somebody halfway across the country or across the world that thinks it's the best thing ever. And then it's like, we'll sit there and work on it and tweak it when maybe it was right the way it was the first
Right.
time,
That's why I love music as well. It's a big part of why I love music, because there is no rule book on it. There's no this is how you make a song,
Yeah.
And even recently started to, well, I would say recently in the past few years, I kind of disconnected from the whole way of how to write a song, right? Because there's there's a way, you know, like a musical way that
Yeah.
that people write songs, which would be verse one, chorus, verse two, maybe a possible bridge, back to the chorus, done, right? Now in music, there is such a wide spectrum of music, and you know, there is no this is how you should do it. Like, and that's what I love too. And bringing sounds together, like that is my favorite thing. Like meeting somebody and they do some crazy punk shit, and you know, I love to do like all genres, and I'm always down to really do anything. But bringing, say, like some punk with some R&B, like mix matching music is so sick, because at the end of the day, I feel like we have the biggest artists, right? We have the Ariana Grandes, and then we got the Neos and the, you know, however it may be. But putting things together is, I mean, I think that's what the world needs, yo. We need new sounds. That's what people fiend for, bro.
So
Dude,
you
go
go ahead,
ahead.
bro.
No, no.
I was gonna say, so you spoke about bringing sounds together. Do you feel like
Hmm.
your music is heavily inspired by more by California or New York? Or have you been able to
Ooh.
kind of bring the sound together type thing?
So I'm that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring sounds together while also trying to make my own lane. Like I said, I do love to do all genres. So, I mean, out here, I definitely was influenced more. Um, I've always been a lover of R&B, but I was influenced a lot by, you know, trap music and the whole San Diego music scene, and being around a lot of friends that also do music, more rap stuff, you know. Um, but now that I live in New York, I would say because of the like more of the Spanish music has really, really, really um made me made my brain just look at things so much bigger, open my whole world to like, holy shit, like I could do an R&B Spanish song, or I could mix reggaeton with like Latin folklore on some, like, I don't know if y'all heard the Bad Bunny album. I was never really a Bad Bunny fan. This album is so dope because he is incorporating dembow, which is Dominican music, with salsa, with reggaeton, which hasn't really ever been done before. So it's like things like that, you know? But I would say I'm really trying to merge those two. I really am trying to kind of make, you know, the West Coast and the East Coast come a little bit more together, you know? But I mean, yeah, bro. I mean, it's all a learning process, for real.
What do you feel like the different like demographic in music is compared to West, compared to like New York?
Ooh, and music. I would say West Coast is a lot more, how do you explain that? We got the I mean, the San Diego scene is crazy. I don't know if you've ever heard about some people. They even rap on like crazy beats, and even their pronunciation on things. They be rolling their R's a lot. They like like they be like say some word, but they the R. It's
Mm.
really crazy. But the difference would be in New York right now. I work at a brewery, which is a blessing because I get to meet a lot of people that come in. We have a stage. We got a lot of shit. So um right now I've recently met a lot of people that are combining Spanish music with trap music, like on a different wave though. I don't even know how to explain it. I wouldn't even know what kind of genre to tell you it is, because I swear they're making their own lane. So it's like talking to those people, and also knowing that I'm a nobody out there for them, right? So that's very humbling in the first place. So being able to be put, you know, in those rooms with people and having these really cool conversations at a brewery, bro, you're chilling, you know, um, is really dope. So I honestly, I don't even feel that I have been out there long enough. I've honestly also been cooped up and just going to work, making music, going to work, making music. Um, this year, now that I've been kind of got my feet wet a year there, and like also is my first time being an adult, you know, getting all my shit myself. I'm moving out. Now you're paying rent. All these things that, you know, like you're like,
Came a little
fuck.
quick. Yeah,
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 it
yeah.
came really, really quick. But it does really make you, you know, uh, it made me appreciate how I grew up as well. But I don't think I've been there long enough to tell y'all like what the main difference is. But main difference for me is the people that really ride for their ethnicity out there, like where they're from. They're very loud about where they're from, and I love that. Here, yes, we have a lot of different types of people, you know, from a lot of places, but over there they ride for that. They're very, very loud about where they're from, and they're proud of it. And so I think that's really dope. But in terms of genres, I really, the difference between that, I really wouldn't know. Not yet.
Do you feel like it's easier to make connections over there in New York compared to California, like music wise?
Mm-hmm.
Even just any artistic really like journey?
100%. I think for me, I could only speak about my path, right?
Yeah.
So it's like because where I work, and the events we throw, we have open mics, we got, DJ nights, we have festivals we do. So speaking from my perspective, it is a lot easier. I also do think though that it's because I'm in New York and it's a city and it's a huge city where I mean there's millions of people stacked up on each other, right? So also they are so much more, people say, oh, the East Coast people are so rude, like they're so cold, da da da. Which a lot of them could be, but what it is that West Coast has so much time on their hands. We're all just chilling, smoking, like, waiting for something to drop on your fucking feet, right? And in New York, everyone's so money hungry. So like everyone got shit to do. You go to the city, it's like an ant hill. Like everyone's just going, doing shit. But it's so motivating for me. Like that's also what I wanted. I had visited New York before I moved there just to make sure like, yo, I really want to go there. And that's what really changed my perspective and really put the stamp on like, I'm doing the right thing because I felt like I wasn't going to go anywhere here. And even though I love my family, love my friends, there was something in me that told me like, Blue, you need to get out or else you're going to come back or you never leave. And someone would come back that did have the opportunity to do what you did. You never went, you come back, you're in the same position, So, and I've performed so many more times in New York in a year than I ever have in San Diego.
That is crazy.
So that tells you a lot, yo. It tells you so much. You could also look at it in a way where it's like, damn, everyone's doing the same shit. And you might feel like, what makes me different, right? And that happens to me a lot because I'm a Libra overthinker over here. So I think about that shit a lot. But you just gotta say fuck you to that little voice in your head and be like, no, I got this. Believe in yourself, believe in your craft, ultimately, is what's the most important. Yeah.
I feel like that there's a tendency to do that with like any like artist just because it's like there's so many people that are realistically there is always going to be someone who's working harder than you. So you just gotta find you. It doesn't matter how much work you're putting in. What matters is being different than everybody else and making yourself stick out. You could be as long as you're putting in that extra, 5%, at least, every single day you're doing something to be able to strive towards your goal. Like
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That's where people drop the ball too. Yeah. When they get too much in their head that they just stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, I'm not asking you to drop a new single every single day. It's about keeping the people engaged. And that's something I'm struggling with now because it's very easy for me to make music. I love it. It comes naturally. I love it. There's no problem. It's the promotion part of it that really fucks me up, yo, because I put all this money, all this time into my album, right? Who the fuck's gonna hear it if I don't promote it?
Yeah.
But I don't have fun with that part, yo. Like I don't like that part. And that's what I feel like I'm definitely working on now is like it's also tech savvy things. I be on TikTok, don't know how to like really use it how people use it, But so it's like little things like that. We live in a age where things aren't going to be seen if you're not putting it in people's faces. But there's something about that too that it's like, people be sending you like, oh, just dropped the album, sends like a DM of the same shit to a bunch of people, right? I personally don't like that. I personally feel like I like to be personable as much as I can. I know I'm one person, but, I don't like to seem so.
You don't want to force it on them.
Yeah, I don't want to be like here. And also half the time when people do that to y'all, like, do you really listen to it for real?
Maybe the opposite, depending on who it is.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like I'm trying to right now find that. How do I be genuine and still put it in your face? But I've always given people like the opportunity, like you can listen if you want. If not, that's cool. There's gonna be another artist that you like, or that you would like to listen to.
I feel like I'm gonna give you your flowers really quick because I struggle with this. A lot of artists that we have on honestly struggle with this because I don't have fun with that either. I don't have fun with doing the TikToks and doing whatever, but you also got to think about it as one of those videos, no matter how long you've been working, one of those videos could change your life forever. So
Yep.
you setting up a tripod and even just singing your song or holding a fake little dynamic mic and singing your song, like if that blows up and that changes your whole trajectory of your career, especially,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like really sitting there because I don't like doing it either, but every once in a while when I get the little motivation to, I set my fucking tripod up and I go
Yep.
do it. But it does suck, but it's also like one of those videos could literally change your life forever. And I sound like Gary Vee right now. I don't know if you know who Gary Vee
I
is,
do.
but
I do.
it's like you just gotta do it.
Yeah. And I
It's
think it's also detaching from like I always have felt like it's very vain. Like, it's very vain to be look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's like I feel like the music would speak for itself. But because we are where we're at, we have to do that, and then gotta keep people interested. It's not just about the music, it's about who are you? Because ultimately you're a brand. You're
yeah,
you're gonna be a brand, or you're creating the brand. People want to know you, want to know your thoughts. How do you carry yourself as a person? What are your beliefs? What are your morals? So a lot of time people, you could be the best artist, make a crazy album, and you're just boring, bro. You're just boring. Or you could be an amazing artist and not boring, but then you hit on stage and you can't perform.
yeah,
You don't know how to carry a crowd, or control a crowd. Like, it's all these things put together, interviews, shit like this. You know what I'm saying? It's I know what I signed up for, and I've wanted it since I was a little girl. And growing up, everything's become so much more real. I'm learning that like this is more than just music, is a business. And if people want to invest in you, you got to be media trained, and there's people putting money in you, so investing in you. So keeping real to yourself, but also realizing that this is more than just music.
yeah. That's another reason why like I started this podcast was just because it's like I've said it a couple times, but anybody can go to your social media page, your IG,
Mhm.
and then see whatever, but they really don't know the type of person you are, So
Mhm.
it's like it gives people a chance to actually explain who they are as a person and like take a deeper dive into who you
Exactly.
are,
Mhm.
you know? But what do you think is the best part about making music?
Oh, being able to express myself. I am good at expressing myself. I have no problem like verbally being affectionate, or just expressing myself physically, verbally, but there's a way that I express myself through my music that I feel I can't do better with words, or conversations. And it's also how I get there. A lot of the times, I don't know how you make music, but I usually I don't write before. Start the beat, just kind of flow, get some freestyles in there. And then yeah, I usually do come up with something pretty cool that I like. Then I'll go back and then write a little bit to that, or just keep punching in and being like, and kind of just flowing, depending on what kind of song and genre I'm trying to do. Um, but that's one of my favorite parts. And then also just finishing it. Finishing the song is like one of the best feelings. And then someone appreciating it and being like, yo, like I really like this, is also one of my favorite parts for sure. Honestly, bro, all of it. All of it. I love all of it. I love meeting people through it, making a song with somebody I don't even know. And now we just hung out for 6 hours, didn't just make music. We got to chill, get to talk, make a new friendship out of that. It brings people together, and I think I'm a people person. I love people. Always cared about the well being of others. So um, that makes me feel cool that I can connect with someone that comes from a completely different background, and at that moment we're on the same spectrum. Like we're vibing, making music, and we just created a new friendship. So it's dope. It brings people together for sure.
What is your favorite song of yours and why?
Ooh, it's not out. It's not
Oh,
out.
Ooh.
It's called Palamami, which means for my mom. Um, I wrote this song when I was really missing my mom, because I'm my mom's only child. And so we grew up together. She raised me and I raised her in a lot of ways. So I was really missing her. Obviously, it's the first time we've kind of been, apart for a long time. So it's been tough on the both of us. So one night I wanted to write about her. I wanted to like give her her flowers. And this song is just talking about how I that she should trust everything that she's instilled in me, and that everything that she has taught me is being put to work right now. And um it's a beautiful song, and I love it because I've sent it to friends that don't know Spanish, and they've hit me back with, Blue, like this song made, like, I don't know what the fuck you just said. Like, I don't know what you said, twin, but this song made me feel something for real, you know? And I love that. And I also see this song looking into like sync licensing and all that, because I'm really trying to pitch it to like Netflix series, or, obviously like corporations like that, they rather pay a more independent artist less bread than getting a big name on some shit, right? But I do see this song being in like some type of something. Like, it just has that feeling, it has that emotion, and it's a beautiful song. It could go for, mom just passed away, or it could be for mom's live right now and you're like thanking her and kind of just talking about how appreciative of what she's done for you.
What? Who introduced you to like sync licensing? What? How did that come
That
in?
came up very recent, actually. So I actually just made the song 3 weeks ago, and the homie that I got connected to in the Bronx, is where I live in New York. Once we finished that song, he was like, "Azul, like, do you need a sync license this?" And I was like, "What the fuck is that? I've never heard of that shit." And he was like, "No, for real, like, you, it's something with some website or whatever." And I guess there's also another. Once you do that, you can put it onto this other website where um, directors and a bunch of people in that industry, they go onto this website and kind of look up what they're looking for. Then your shit pops up, and then they can use that. I haven't fully looked into it. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna need a hand to hold through that one, because I don't know, but hopefully it hits for sure.
What do you go through for distribution?
DistroKid.
DistroKid.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Always
I'm
DistroKid.
gonna have to partner with them or something, because
Wow, you be
That's
putting them
crazy.
on?
no, well, the amount
You
of
talk about them
artists
a lot?
that talk about the amount of artists that
Yo,
use
because
DistroKid.
I mean, what are the other ones? I've been told like what, United or
Yeah,
something.
United, TuneCore.
And someone, certain people say different things about different distributors, right? I've just always been with DistroKid. I don't know who's the fastest. I don't know who's the most efficient or whatever, but I've always, first person that told me DistroKid, I just always went with that.
DistroKid gets a bad name. It's just like you really got to know how to get all your licensing and everything else, like,
Mhm.
because that's genuinely where you get more of your money. But it's
Right.
like, I mean, not a lot of people talk about sync licensing as well. But I mean,
Have you
key,
looked into
key,
that for yourself?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
on majority of
Okay.
them,
Cool.
but yeah, there's a lot of great platforms to do it. There's one that's for Netflix, and specifically, like, I forgot what it's called, but I wanted to get on that one because it just came out more recently. But
Okay.
that's literally for like new Netflix shows that are coming, and like
Right.
there's been a lot of people that get picked. But even for like 30 seconds of your like song in a movie, film, blah blah blah, you can get up to like 30-50K. So
Damn, yo.
yeah,
Just give me my money.
just give me my just give me my
Dead ass.
money.
Although I've never really like, I was just talking to somebody. We had an emo night event, right? At
A
where I
what?
work, emo night. Like literally where
Like
all the
Blink,
emos
yeah, like
come out,
Blink
like we're
182, or you
black
talking
and
about like the real
when they doing
emo?
that dance.
bro, I didn't have
They
an
got
emo
the-
phase, gang. I had no emo phase, so I couldn't really tell y'all what kind of, like on some Paramore, like
That's like light emo.
you think so?
I'm talking
I
like
don't know. I wouldn't know. But
Pierce the
anyways,
Veil.
so I got to talking to this one artist that is going pretty big in the Bronx right now. Sasso and Dark Knight, they're a duo. They're dope for real. Shouts out to them. But I bumped into Sasso and we were talking about music for real, and he was just telling me like, "Yo, kind of just giving me advice." Because I told him I had just finished the album. My album was originally 15 songs, and he stopped me right there. He was like, "Bro, like I love that you made 15 songs for real, but I'm telling you right now, especially because I'm a new artist in a new place, to make it less for real, because I'm a new artist. I mean, Drake and Party Next Door just dropped like a 15 plus song album. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I didn't even listen to that whole shit, and they are huge. So it's like also the way that people are nowadays, we're so like
Our
antsy,
attention
bro.
span
Yeah,
is
our
very
attention span is so whack.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking back to the album right now, and I'm like, okay, let me pick the best ones, and the rest doesn't mean I can't release them. I'll just do like
Singles.
singles, or I'll drop a couple singles very soon. They'll be on the album, which gives me a little bit more space on the album for people to be like, okay, these are some new shits. I've heard these. But I don't know where I was connecting that. What was that question? The question, what you just said?
You
I
were
lost. See?
you were talking about meeting Dark Knight and Sasso, and then they were telling you about your album, 15
Right,
songs.
but we were talking about the sync licensing, and then
yeah,
but how did that?
Netflix. I don't know.
Anyways,
Yeah. You start.
yeah, I be
mentioned.
ping, 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 ping everywhere. But no, just like talking to people, like taking real like advice from people and like hearing people out. But also knowing that like, yeah, we can have a conversation, and I do take your opinion. But at the end of the day, like I'm gonna do what I think is best.
So what did you? Yeah, taking everything with a grain of salt for one. It
Exactly.
was like because whatever you feel like is your body of art, but how many did you end up like taking it down to?
Booting out. So I just had my listening party Saturday at my house with friends, family, and I showed them the whole 15.
Yeah.
And after each song, I was like, "Yo, what like?" Honestly, criticism. I'm always open to criticism. I love that shit. Like, cause I know I can do better. I just need someone else's eyes, someone else's ears. Right. So right now, I had shown them all of them, and I'm very happy with 8. I'm shooting for 8. Some friends also even said that's a little bit too much, but man, like I love this
They
album.
said that's too much?
Yeah.
Well,
What is your opinion? I would love to hear another person's opinion, another artist.
I was gonna say 8 to 10 if
8
you
to
were
10?
starting at 15, but I mean albums are anywhere from 8 plus.
Right.
So it's like 3 to 5, I believe, is a mixtape.
EP. Oh,
I was gonna say EP too. Yeah.
3 to 5 is a mixtape. 5 to
Mixtape.
7 is EP, and then
Gotcha.
7 to 12 is typically album range.
Gotcha.
So I was gonna say 8 is a very good number,
Mhm.
especially like, but that's 8 of your hard hitting. Like you could even do your 8, and then those other 7, you can either go the deluxe route, but
Mhm.
you don't really need to do because
Right.
even then, big artists do that. Especially, you could even do boom solid 8, and then have those other 7 for another like
Scheduled
EP
releases,
right after. You
or
know what I'm
EP.
saying? Like
Mhm.
3 months after, you boom hit them with something else. Boom,
Yep.
here's da da da, and they don't even know that those were tied together.
Yep.
Or you could have 7 extra singles. But
Yep. I'm getting
yeah.
really jumbled right now in my head because I have 15 songs that are there's not a cohesive like kind of, what's that word? I didn't come to this album with a preset mindset of what I'm gonna be doing, So
Yeah.
I literally have R&B. I got this trap jazz song with a crazy fucking beat. I got this Latin folklore. I have like there's so many different genres in it that I also am thinking, well, why don't I just do a Spanish EP and an R&B EP? Then so I'm like, there's so many ways to go about it that I just get so like I get too jumbled, bro. I get too jumbled in my head, and I'm like, fuck. Like, there's so many ways to go about it. Like, what do I do? Then I just started to think like, well, shit, I'm just gonna do it how I originally wanted to do it. Drop it. 8 to 10, whatever, and kind of have my first project be my introduction to New York, and to have people be like, okay, there's a lot of genres in this bitch, but she's trying to show us that she can do this, and that, So, but I'm a little bit, I gotta speak to myself more and also trust myself a little bit more. And I do ask for opinions a lot. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong because now I have so many people's
different
thoughts.
angles.
Yeah, different angles, different views, that is kind of making me feel like, damn, I don't really know what to do about it. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be cool. And when I put it out, it's out, and that's gonna feel really awesome. So,
Russ, the reason, I don't know if you know the Russ effect, like what he did when he
Love
first started,
Russ.
but he was the only reason why he did the single approach and he dropped one every Friday was because he dropped 11 projects and EPs and albums before he even started releasing his singles.
Wow.
But every time he got the most views or streams on the first song of the thing, and then it kind of had a trickle down effect. So it's like, you got to think about it. If you sat there and listened yourself from 1 to 15, where would you stop at? Where would you take a break? Where would you blah, blah, blah? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you said it yourself. You didn't even listen. I mean, I love Drake. Drake's one of my
Same.
favorite artists. I still didn't even listen to the whole.
Same.
I would like skip around the album, but I didn't listen to the whole thing all the way through.
Yep.
So it's like,
that's another thing, bro. Is like, like I've put so much time and thought about how it should flow.
Yeah.
You know, and I really feel like I have it how I want it, but now that I'm like contemplating and pretty much set on taking songs out, right? Now it's kind of fucking the flow. So because I have, you know, I have an interlude, like not an interlude, I have an intro that's spoken poetry, spoken word over a piano ballad that is so beautiful. And this is a poetry that I wrote, a poem that I wrote a few months ago. Kind of speaking to the universe and asking her to, like, you know, give me strength and show me how to do this, show me how to do that. You'll hear it eventually. But then we go into another kind of intro, like very, very light rap, just calm rap. And then kind of the album starts. So it's fucking with the flow. I need to figure it out. Is, you know, the album is done, but I never thought because it's my first album and first project altogether, it's very important to me to like try to get it right, but also give myself a little bit leeway and like chill, because, you know, it's not like I have the whole world's eyes on me. Like, you know, I think I'm gonna be able to look back and, you know, whatever I wish I would have changed, I would probably learn from that. So
this is your time to experiment the most, though. You got to think of it, because later on in life, you won't, when you have all those eyes on you, millions of people, those are the times when you don't want to fuck up, you know? So it's like,
right.
But I feel like even just with the songs you have released right now, like, you're in a good position.
Thank you.
Has your mom always supported your music career?
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed about that. She's always supported everything I ever did. Like, I never was into sports or anything like that, but I dabbled here and there. I was never on a team. I suck at sports. I was never physically inclined, always creatively, musically inclined. But with anything, she's always supported me. And that is something that has really helped me grow into who I am. Because, I mean, a lot of people have, you know, aspirations and things that they want to do in their life. And it becomes so much harder when you don't have that backbone, you know, whether it doesn't even have to be financially, just emotionally. I've been very, very blessed to have a mom and a father that do support me. My dad doesn't know shit about music. Like, I'll bring him my songs or whatever, and he's like, Blue, you know, I don't know about music, but it sounds good, you know? Like, he's just not really into that. My mom has always loved music. She's a art fanatic. She's a writer. She's just gone into drawing and painting. So she's a very creative person. So and she also, I have pictures of her. Like, we have pictures when she was my age, and she's singing at random places in Mexico, just at a bar or with the stage with the live band. So it definitely comes from somewhere. And then she wanted to give me my name, which everyone always tells me, like, yo, your mom knew she was birthing some type of creative person, you know? Because I get that question a lot. Like, is that your real name or is that your artist name? And it's literally first name Azul, middle name Sky, like on birth certificate. So I used to go by Blue, actually. But over here in San Diego, when I went to New York, I was like, let me just go by my real name. And I really love it. So
what did she say when she heard the song?
She cried, yo. She called me. She was crying. She's like, ay, Azulita. Like, ay, Azulita, it's so beautiful. Like, thank you for writing this about me. Da, da, da. And then, of course, she was like, can I send it to your grandma? and like to a couple, close friends. I'm like, of course. And then same thing, grandma cried. So I'm telling you, it's a song like it really is moving. And I'm never one to, I'm a very humble person and I won't be like, yeah, but my shit's so blah, 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 blah. Like, like, no, I would never do that. But I could really say that this song I'm really confident about is really beautiful. And it's given me, I've proven to myself that I can do more than what I thought. Cause I've always thought I was very versatile, but there's some shit I've never done before. So it's dope.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes you gotta take the humbleness away, though, because you gotta pop
Mm.
your shit every now and then, you know?
Yeah. There's a balance though to
Yeah.
it. Cause I've through my years of making music with people and just meeting artists, I never say the word hate. That's a big word, but I really dislike when people just
Hey.
talk too much of their shit, bro. Because I'm thinking in my head, like, yo, if someone were to put you in a room with really important people and you pop in your shit like you already got your shit, they're not gonna look at you like that. Well, like you, of course, be confident. I'm a very confident person, very confident, but I'm never cocky. Never cocky. Couldn't do it.
Do you remember the first time you ever stepped foot into like a studio setting?
100%. Yeah. Studio setting was, so I went to I think it was like 2012. I needed some extra like help for school, so I went like to an outside kind of help thing, and they had a studio there. So I was interested in that. That was the first time I ever actually heard my voice on a track. So because I seen that, I was like, I asked my moms, I was like, hey, do you think we could like get a couple sessions in here, just to, I don't know, just to feel it out, that was the first time I ever seen a studio. And then from there, I went to an arts high school called CCA, Canyon Crest Academy. And we had studios in that high school. So I remember freshman year, I took recording arts for the first 2 years, like back to back to back to back. Our schedule was a little different. So I got to do it like, a little bit more, to be honest. But that's when I really fell in love. And that's when I was taught, how to engineer, how to master. Didn't really stick with me. I don't have fun doing that.
Oh, I was gonna say, whoa.
No. Didn't really stick with me, but the whole like the projects we were given to do, I was always singing on those. And that's when I was like, damn, yeah, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Like this shit brings me joy. I think when you find something that the hours just go by so fast and you're having so much fun doing it, I feel like that's how you know you're doing the right thing,
Do you know your way around a DAW? Like
I do. My DAW I use is Logic, like that bitch right there.
Yeah.
Because I was thrown into, that's a whole other story. But in New York, went through a lot of different hardships or whatever with roommates and whatever. It was never how it is now. I'm so grateful that it is how it is now. But I was supposed to come to New York, have already a producer engineer in-house living, because my manager at the time knew somebody that was my age. He's known him since he was legit. And he's just crazy with it. He's one of those people, one of the most amazing artists I have ever met, can do so many genres, but will never put it out. And that shit frustrates me, yo. I'm like, do you understand like what you made right here? But he's just so in his head and so maybe worried about people's opinions, or maybe he just doesn't want to. I'm not really sure about that one. But so we got to working or whatever, but it didn't work out. So then I fast forward a couple months, I had to learn how to do this shit myself. I was very blessed to like have my own studio equipment. I have everything I need. Nothing crazy, but just what I need, right? So I started getting into learning how to record myself, very little by little. Learning how to record myself, finding the BPM to shit, finding the key, making sure, if I want a little bit of reverb, a little bit of that, fixing shit is what I have problems with. Thankfully, I have really, really amazing friends over here in the West Coast that I can call up and have no problem like helping me and like really, really helping me. And that shit means so much to me, because at the end of the day, I get very frustrated if some shit goes wrong and the levels are off, or something's just crazy shit happens on there. Also, I'm not paying for I don't be paying for plugins for real. So I record raw. So I'll record all my demos raw at home. And then once I have like 5 to 6 tracks that I want to go bang out the studio, I'll, paid a little bit of money to go do that and then bang them out. And I found somebody that's so dope. AOA also shouts out. He's really cool. He'll be recording you and also mix mastering at the same time. So you're not waiting for your shit to come back, like however long it may take. So eventually I would love to really learn how to do all of that because I want to be as much hands-on. And say I go to a really big studio with some bigger people, like I want to know what the fuck they're talking about. And I also want to be the one to be like, okay, like I like my shit like this or da da da. Having the right terminology for certain things, I think would show a lot of progression, not just with myself, but to be able to talk to other people about shit like that.
That's why, like, even the artists that I record, like, I've had a lot of people that I'll go out of my way to even help people. Like, if they straight up tell me they can't afford like sessions anymore, like, and they get their own equipment, whatever the case is, like, I'll help them with templates or I'll help them do whatever. But
Right.
I tell them no matter what, like, if anybody's using a template or whatever the case, at least learn the plugins that are even, in there, even stock plugins in your DAW, just to be able to communicate with like an engineer or doing whatever.
Yes.
Because it's like, I have artists that come in here and they're like, can you make me sound like Gunna? And it's like, yeah, let me do my best, buddy.
Oh my God.
Whatever that means.
And does that not show you more like if it shows, I feel like more interest if an artist comes in and is, has the right terminology. It just shows like who's coming in just to make a track or whatever and who's coming into that really like this is what they love. If it's what you love, you should be diving into that. You should be interested in like what makes this sound like this, or you know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, I totally feel that. I think it just differentiates people. It just differentiates how hungry one person may be more than the other.
That is awesome. What do you think drives you?
Other than my soul? What drives me to make music? It's my peace. It's my peace. I feel like I'm a very antsy person. I do have anxiety, not super bad anxiety, but I do have anxiety. So when I'm making music, it just makes me feel so at peace. Like I don't care what's happening. I don't care who's calling me. I'm making music. It makes me feel like I'm doing spoken poetry, but I'm just singing it, and that drives me. I've kind of had to change. I don't know if I need to change my mindset on this, but I've never done my music for money. I've never been like, yo, I need to make this because I need to make money. I've had conversations with people that say you need to change your mindset, like your perception on that, because you're ultimately doing it to make a living out of it, right? To me, that just makes me feel like it takes from it. Because I feel like if I were to switch my mentality of, oh, I'm doing music just to make money, that it's not coming from a place that is genuine to me. I feel like money is so, of course you need it to live, right? But it's not what I'm looking for, like, of course everyone, like the goal of life really is to do what you love, do what you really love and get paid for it. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen very often, right? And we have to conform to societal standards. But I don't know. I've just never looked at it that way. And maybe that's where I'm fucking up. I mean, I've literally made probably $20 off my music for what, like almost in like 6, 7, 8 years.
Oh,
that's it. But I don't know. I've been talking to friends and like my friend that's over there, she always tells me like, you got to change your mindset. Change your mindset on money. Like, don't be calling yourself broke, because it's like, I don't know if you guys are spiritual or anything, but I do believe in like whatever you put out in the world, you're going to get back, or however you speak to yourself.
Yeah,
manifestations, right? Yeah. Exactly. Just like songs, bro. Songs are mantras. Like, you're literally, if you hear your favorite song every single day or whatever it may be, whatever you're listening to is so important to your brain. Like, you're singing an artist song and you might be singing about murder. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that shit is crazy, but that shit is hard, you know? So it's like, I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to do as well with my music is like write about not such ugly shit in the world. Yeah.
When you tell people, or when people ask, like, yo, like you rap, like, let me hear some of your music. What are a couple of songs that you play for them?
Ooh, for rap, I
Or
have.
singing, either one, up to you.
Oh, like, wait,
It's like
sorry.
any of your music. What would you play?
Oh, what would I play? Like if someone like is interested to hear my shit, definitely the newest out is Antidote. So I always go by with like the newest for real because I feel like I've already grown so much from like the last song that I did that I'm just like, man, like that's not even me anymore for real. So I usually go to the most recent that I put out. So right now probably Antidote, but I also really love when we were talking about the whole like how a song should have like a system. I have one song that is like 4 minutes 30 seconds, which is really fucking rare nowadays too. Like the songs are so short at this point. But I love that song because it has that structure. Like it has that verse, da da da, chorus, and then bridge, all that, which is called Distant. I did that one, I think 2020, 2021. Um, and then there's another song called Show No Shame. That one's a very slow R&B song. I really focused really on like I always wrote about relationships and I haven't had the best track record of relationships. But they
Amen.
have yes, but they have curated like amazing songs, you know? So
Yeah.
I really have found muse in that, right? But also I'm very grateful to be in New York now because I'm now in a relationship like recently in the past 2 months. But before that, I wasn't. And I hadn't been single for years. Or
You
no,
had
for like
been.
I had
Yeah.
been single for like a year and a half, maybe 2, right? And so it gave me that I got to detach from just writing about relationships. And even though that's beautiful, and I always looked at it in a sense of like, I want to write about women empowerment and make women feel like you're not alone in this. And it's actually very common to go through a lot of narcissistic, abusive relationships, you know, and it does stain us for the rest of our lives, really. We're always going to have that little thing in the back of our heads about some shit that someone did to you. But now that I live in New York, I got, you know, I got to be able to write about other things, like about people going through stuff, not in relationships, just understanding that everyone's going through things. And then now that I'm in a very healthy relationship where I feel comfortable, now I get to write about love songs and like being in love, like genuinely being in love, not being, you know, not writing shit that I used to go through. So it's really cool to like to watch that growth and to hear the growth. Like, I don't know, you ever like listen to songs you made a couple years ago and you're like, damn, like you can still appreciate it, but you're like, whoa, I've grown from that.
I mean, it's like hard for me because there's songs that I made like 2-3 years ago that I'm like still able to release right now because it's like, but I mean, I feel you with that. Like, just, I mean, I would hope any artist, whatever song they make recently, is getting better, you know.
Right.
But
That's what we hope.
yeah,
That's what we hope and pray.
yeah.
Hope and pray. But I think like, yo, when you're like you were just talking about, like, do 5% every day. Like, that's with anything. Working
Yeah.
out, working on a relationship, do like working on your job, working on your music. 5% every single day is better than nothing every single day. You know, and it's bound to show that progression.
I said this on the last podcast we did, but uh I have a line in a song that goes, "Progression never lies, it's the truth that always shows."
Mm,
Because, you know, anybody could say, I did this, but
right.
if there's nothing to show for it,
Also, it's very easy to talk, bro.
yeah.
It's so easy to talk. So it's like you could talk about what you got going on, what you're doing, but where is it at though? You know?
Yeah.
That's why when I was making this album, yo, I went ghost for like 3-4 months. Like my last post was a minute ago, which is when I dropped Antidote. And I was just like, dude, I need to go ghost and I just want to focus on this music because I'm not going to be out here like every day posting like album about to be out, you know? And like it's months down the line, bro, you know? So it's like, you got to just take your time and you don't have to put it in people's faces all the time before it's not even done. Like, so just chill out. Like, yes, there's timing on shit, and yes, a lot of things is rolling really, really fast, but everyone has their own time.
Do you remember the first setup you like recorded on, or the first equipment that you got? Like, what was the first interface and what was the first mic you got?
First interface was the Enterprise. I think it was a first generation for real. The mic was literally, I was so dumb. I got a podcast mic. I got what's it called? It was like the Blue
Yeti.
Blue Yeti.
Yeah.
I got the Blue Yeti, yo, and I was using that. I didn't record too much at my house. Like when I was growing up, I would actually record with friends a lot. But when I wanted to record at my house, that's what I got. And it didn't really work out. I'd never record myself by myself though, so I think that's why I never really did that at my crib. I usually would just actually use voice memo and
record it at the studio.
Yeah, exactly. Or just record with friends. Like I never really grew up going to many studios. It was just kicking it with the homies, making music, having fun. And then around 2016, I got to meet a friend named David. And I was he had just started his studio in his house in the garage. Saw it from it being like nothing, bro. Like the most basic things, just an interface, a mic, 2 speakers, basic, right?
Yeah.
And I was the first girl to record there, first female to record there. So we got really close, created a really cool relationship, and from there, that's when I started really taking it serious. Like also being from high school and having studios there, knowing that this is what I love to do. Now I wanted to start to take a little bit more serious. And so that was really cool to have that opportunity. He also showed me the ropes about a lot of things. I did my senior thesis project on the studio and how things work and all that. So he was a very huge help in my journey. But seeing also the growth now. If I were to go back to that studio now, it's a whole ass studio. We got a whole other room to record. You can see this little cutout window in that bitch. You have another TV, so while you're recording, you can see what he's doing. Like he's made it a whole thing, which is really, really dope. But yeah, those were the first 2 things I got.
And then from recording on a Blue Yeti is not the worst. It's not the worst mic,
but it is a podcast though, right?
It's like a gaming podcast type of thing, because even YB and the Mirrors used it. There's a couple other big artists that actually started on the Yeti. I think even it was either Juice WRLD or X recorded some songs on a Blue Yeti too. So it was one of those. But it just all depends on too if you know how to make it sound and doing whatever the case.
True.
But from going from the Blue Yeti to now, do you know what you record on? What mic you guys use?
I couldn't tell you.
No?
I couldn't tell you, gang. No, I couldn't. Shit. No, I couldn't tell you. It's nice.
Yeah.
it sounds crispy.
Yeah.
It sounds crispy. No, yeah. No, I'm not sure. I know I have 2 different mics at home. But I'm not sure. I know that it's so crucial though to I went to this one studio in New York. I got invited. We were using a $12,000 mic. That shit was insane. Like insane. I've never even seen multiple things of equipment that I've seen in that room. Like I'm talking about you walk into the studio, there's this other little screen that shows you like this digital imprint of where you are in the room and how the sounds are like when you're singing are like pinging into the mic. That shit was insane. I've never seen it. I felt like I was like in Tony Stark's fucking studio.
Yeah, I mean all of that, even with just the acoustic treatment, there's so much more technology now. You could go around like just holding a wand mic in your room and then it'll tell you where to put certain things.
It's insane. It's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
But that's also where it's like, man, fuck. Like money really does talk.
Yeah.
Because holy shit. Like I could make some fire shit, but it's someone else is making some fire shit too, and they have just insane equipment. Of course it's gonna sound way more professional. But there's also tracks where like they sound really dope, like more vintage, more like, again, there's no rules in music. So it just depends on what you're going for.
And I feel like that's again where like I'm bringing up that quote again. You're welcome, sissy. Comparison is the thief of joy, because I used to think like that as well all the time. It's like, it truly comes down to knowing your equipment and knowing how to use it, because you got to think of it. There's people using the headphone mic for freaking Apple headphones that are
Right.
coming out triple
Right.
platinum, doing
Yep.
whatever the case, and they're making their song on BandLab.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, you really just gotta do it. It comes down to just, you know, going and doing whatever you can with the equipment you have at hand, you know.
100%.
But
I gotta dive into that then.
yeah. Do you think what is one piece of advice that you've gotten from an artist that has helped you excel in your music career?
Mm. Damn, I've got so much advice, yo. I think the one that's definitely most stuck out to me was trust in your own process. Trust in whatever song that you're making at the moment is gonna come out the way that it should. And like I was speaking about perfectionism before, right? Is my homie told me to get out your head about that. Like get out your head. Like literally do not listen to that. Finish the song. Have the thoughts after. Don't because if you get into that role while you're making that music, then you're gonna get frustrated. Then you're thinking, oh shit, like I don't wanna do an injustice to the other half of this song, right? Because at that point I'll just put it away and it'll never come out. So just trusting yourself, bro, is so powerful. Of course you might be wrong at times. You trust yourself and you're wrong, and you know, you listen to them shit and you're like, damn, that's booty. but that's cool. Like that's fine. But that's perfect that is booty, because it was supposed to be booty. Like it's all good. Like so definitely trusting yourself. I think people intake too many opinions and let them actually impale their mind about it, and then they are fucked because they're like, well, damn, I don't want to let all these people down, whatever. I'm taking so many opinions from other people that, you know, it just ends up like paralyzing them for real. So just trust in your path, trust in your process.
How do you feel like you deal with creative roadblocks?
Take a walk.
Take a walk?
For me, take a walk, step away for a second, maybe smoke some weed. I'm not much of a, I love how I just said that, when I'm actually not a weed smoker when I'm making music.
Really?
I can't do it. A lot of people come to the crib and they're like, yo, can I roll up? And it's really fine to smoke in my house. But like I can't get creative if I don't smoke, you know? Like I need
If you
this.
don't smoke, or if you smoke?
If
oh, they
don't,
feel like
they
that?
feel like
Yeah.
they can't be creative if they don't smoke. So, and that could not be me. Like I get mute. I'm like, if y'all really want to make music, like I'm not smoking, but I'll have some wine, or, you know, everyone has their fix or whatever. I also can make music sober. But you know, people come through the crib and they're smoking, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have like a little glass of wine. But I try not to attach myself to that, to be like, oh my God, I need a glass of wine to make music. But yeah.
I feel like that's one thing that scared me the most about when I'm on my little sober journey right now. But I was so worried. I was like, oh my gosh.
Would you rely on it?
Not like rely on it, but I mean, I'd smoke every time I was making music, or I'd have a drink or a couple. But
it's never only
culture,
one, gang.
honestly.
It's never only one.
Yeah. And
it is the culture too. Yeah, 100%. So I try to respect people, like, you know, of course, like if you feel like you need to do that to get in the zone, that's cool. It's also just knowing your limits and knowing like what you can and cannot do to be creative. So whatever, if to each their own, respect it. As long as you're not shooting up some crazy shit in my crib, we're Gucci. Yeah, we're all good.
What do you think when you're naming songs, how do you like pull from it?
That's a good question. I try not to go the generic way of like being like, hey, what's said in the hook? Let's just name it that. So it's usually comes from a feeling of like what the song makes me feel like, what I could visualize maybe in a video, music video, if I'm doing one for that song. But it takes a lot of like listening over and over and over, or maybe it just may be one random word that I use that I really like that kind of encapsulates the whole song or whatever. Um, in terms of like a project, that's like a whole other thing because
Yeah.
I just had a month of like going back and forth of what I want to call this album. I finally landed on the color blue.
Wow.
That's dope.
That's fire.
For multiple reasons and my mom actually just literally made me realize this. I was like, holy shit, I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's dope. We were talking about it yesterday. She's like, so people always say your name Azul, right? Azul when it's Azul. And she was like, you gotta let people know that it's Azul, like the color blue. Because I always would say that. Because people are like, what's your name? And be like, Azul, like the color blue, you know? So her connecting that was so dope. Because the reason why I originally wanted to name it the color blue was I kind of just like the vastness of it, like the color blue. Of course, it's my name is Azul, so the blue is there for that reason. But also this album just kind of, there's like, you know, when people say like, oh, you're feeling blue, you know, that kind of has the like a sadness effect to it, right? Which this album does have a couple sad songs, but mostly like happy and mostly kind of pumped up songs, but there's definitely a lot of emotion in the song. So that was my reason for naming it that. I kind of just, not gonna lie, did some shrooms. And I was thinking about it and I was looking at this light that I have in my room that kind of, you know, those lights that like have like the rippling effect of water, and it was blue. And I was just like, yo, the color blue. Because it's so beautiful. There's so many shades of it. It's my name. And I just fucked with it. It was that or Once in a Blue Moon.
That would have been fire too.
Right? So, but I'm thinking like it could be the next project.
I was gonna say you can still use that.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody take that for real. But no, but yeah. So I was between those two, and I don't know. That one spoke to me most. But I think naming songs and naming projects obviously are completely different things. But I don't know. It depends on what the song makes you feel like. Depends on how you interpret it, how you may think others interpret it. It could also be people be naming songs that have nothing to do with the, you know. So it just depends. Whatever you like, however you want it to look for real. Like I'm very big on, putting like periods or putting, exclamation marks on songs and shit like that, or naming it like something, not spelling it exactly how it should be spelled. Like literally realizing that there is no rules on how to do shit. Really diving into that recently like made me like be like, whoa, it opened my whole world. Like this album, I added a whole poetry intro on it because I realized that this is art. Like this is art. This is art. It doesn't have to be just track. Here's my album. It could be an album that you really listen from top to bottom and it's gonna make sense. Like it'll make sense.
What are your plans with releasing music in 2025?
Being more prepared, yo. I gotta be more prepared. My plans, you said releasing music? My plans to release music, I mean, I'm definitely releasing this album soon. And then after that, having scheduled releases, like having scheduled single releases for different seasons. Like I feel like in different seasons, people need different shit, you know? So holding on to like some songs that I feel like, even though I want to drop them right now, because I just love them and I want people to hear them, is being like, okay, I feel like this would gain more traction in the summer where you know, people are outside and and then in winter, like people are more inside, and especially in New York, people are more in their fields. It's dark outside. It's cold. People may not have snuggle buddies. They sad, you know? So like, let me give you a hug through your ears, you know? So, yeah, this year I'm just, now that I got my feet wet in New York and I feel comfortable and I have a very small group of people that I consider very close to me and also do amazing shit. Now it's like, okay, now after this album release too, performing back again as many times as I can. Like whenever I could get that mic, wherever it is, I'm on that. Like that is one of my favorite things to do. Love making music. Another favorite part of it is performing. I love being on the stage. Yeah.
How many times have you performed overall?
Overall, let me think really quick. 12.
12?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. All right. I have 2 questions off of that. What's the lowest amount of people you performed in front of, and what's the most amount of people you performed in front of?
Lowest was my first out here. It's probably 30 to 50 people, maybe less. And the most I would have to say was at an open mic. It was never just like, oh, AzulSky is performing, but probably like 80 to 90. But nothing crazy, yo. But like I would love it to get that crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selling them out. You got to think like that.
Bro, I know.
You're right around the corner.
Yeah, dude.
If you had to leave an artist or a creative with one piece of advice, what would you leave them with?
Get out of your head about your insecurities, whether it's physical of yourself or about your craft. Get out of your head about that, because it's going to do you worse than better, and it's going to stump you. And if you never try, you'll never know. You have to try. So make sure that you are doing everything out of genuine love and care for your craft, and you really can't do no wrong. And the more practice, the better you're going to get, and that is a fact. Whatever you do, you practice it more, you're bound to get better. So get out of the mentality of, what are people going to think? What if people this, that, whatever. It does not matter. People at the end of the day are going to have anything to say no matter what. As long as they're talking, that's cool. That's all it is. But remember that you're put in this earth not just to serve yourself, but to serve others. And to serve others through music is a blessing. And if you have that incline to do that and the talent to do that, listen to it, do it, ride with it.
Where can the people find you?
Instagram would be AzulSky, AzulSky. And then I'm on all platforms, AzulSky with 1 L. So AzulSky.
I appreciate you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, bro. I could do it forever.
Yeah.
The fact you pulled up.
I'm like, shit, we just getting started. I'm just playing.
Seriously though, the fact that I'm serious about that. We have people that are local that push back their dates, and it's like, oh, they can't make it. They live 15 minutes away. So it's like.
Well, I've seen this as an opportunity because, I'm always one to go for something that I've never done before, right? And I felt so honored. I know the homie Makai was on here, right? So I seen him on this, and then you reached out, and I was like, bro, I've never done one. Was a little nervous about it, but I'm like, yo, I just love to throw myself into new shit. So thank you guys for having me and trusting that I'd be cool. For real.
Yeah, thanks for not killing us.
Right, no. Right. Hey, we're not done here, gang. Just kidding.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day, night, whatever time you're in. Bishop?
Yay.
All right.
Yay.
Later, guys.